Tolakarn, friends and foes, and welcome to a faction preview video for the mod DCI Last Alliance. I am Ngugi, team leader, and on behalf of the team, we today shall have a look at the faction of Mordor. Now, the background history will be just mentioned in short here, since this is a delayed video, but Mordor is the capital of Sauron's realm, and Sauron arose as the second Dark Lord in the Second Age. He had tricked the elves to make the Rings of Power, and about year 1600 he himself made the One Ring. After that he was ever at war with the elves and also with the Dunedain from Numenor. However, he was brought to Numenor as a prisoner, and about 100 years ago he had deceived and manipulated the Numenorians into a foolish act that caused their home island to be drowned into the sea. Now, Sauron returned and did not expect any Dunedain to have survived. However, there were Dunedain who were led by Elendil and his sons, who formed the kingdoms of Arnor and Gondor. And once Sauron realized that, he made sure to make war upon them. That is the War of the Last Alliance, and it began in the year 3429.
Victory was near. But the power of the ring could not be undone.
We are welcomed to Middle-earth with the evil message, and then we are given the usual options at campaign start. You can activate the Balrog in Moria, or you can activate the immortal Nazgul. Now here we might say something about the Nazgul, because though it says immortal, they will not respawn eternally. They will respawn each a few times, meaning that if you are playing as Mordor, you cannot just throw them into battle time after time after time and not expect there to be any repercussions. Likewise, if you play against Mordor, you can slay the Nazgul each a couple of times and then you will be rid of him. Why have we set it to be like this? Well, this is the Second Age that is filled with powerful elves and Dunedain who have enchanted weapons that can kill an immortal Nazgul, an undead Nazgul. So it is just fitting that in this setting the Nazgul may respawn, but they cannot do so eternally. So, as you see here, and we start the campaign, Mount Doom is belching smoke, as it is said in the lore. The faction leader in the capital of Barad-dûr is Sauron himself, who is of course quite overpowered. He has the One Ring and he has a mace and a biography that ensures that he has exceptional stats. However,
Get ready for fighting.
he cannot move out of Barad-dûr until you have conquered a sufficient number of settlements. We will check on that later. Now, we have the character you will know as the Witch King, but in this time period we refer to as the Wraith King. He is spawning for you when you start the campaign as Mordor. In case you are playing as any other faction, he will spawn first later into the campaign. There is one other Nazgûl at the start of the game. To the northwest here in Nindalf, we have Kamul, the Easterling, who is the commander of the northern troops. And we also have two black Númenórean lords who are commanding forces in Mordor. In Nargothrond we have the character known as Dun-Gukor, and in Minas Ithil, that has just been taken, it was so the war of the last alliance started, we have Ugru. And Ugru is commander of the western troops, and he's likewise the lieutenant of Ithilien. Now there are a few recruitment considerations to bring up. In the Black Gate we have, of course, the building representing it. It offers you the Morannon Guard that are only available here. Then in the Black Gate and in Barad-dûr we have, in the higher levels of the shrines, you can recruit Sigurún Masters. These are very elite black Númenórean, what should you say, warrior priests, but they are rather like Templars, if you would like so. Then in a few places around the world, and one of them being of course Cirith Duat, later known as Cirith Ungol, here we have the cave Torek Ungol that allows you to recruit great spiders. However, these are quite rare. You can't even see one right now, but I think it's like 33 or 34 turns before you can recruit the first of them. Finally, we can mention that you recruit werewolves as Mordor, but these werewolves, though they can be recruited inside Mordor with its mountainous terrain, they, unlike most other of Mordor's forces, prefer forest, so you will have a bit less replenishment rates of the unit pools inside Mordor. For example, if you capture land in Ithilien, you will get better replenishment than within Mordor. As for expansion, of course, to the west of you are the new territory of Gondor, and Gondor will be your primary target. You can also expand north, but here you have to be prepared to encounter the Sylvan nations of Lothlórien and Eringallen, and also to the northeast on the plains you will have the Northmen, who can pose a threat. They have quite a lot of cavalry, and that is not your strong suit. And let's jump ahead a little bit in time just to look at Sauron Unlocked. Númenórean kingdoms, here is the territory of Gondor, and Gondor will be your primary target. You can also expand north, but here you have to be prepared to encounter the Sylvan nations of Lothlorien and Eringalen, and also to the northeast on the plains you will have the Northmen who can pose a threat. They have quite a lot of cavalry, and that is not your strong suit. And let's jump ahead a little bit in time just to look at Sauron Unlocked. And here we are a bit into an aggressive and quite cheated campaign on my part. We have now control of 25 regions, which was the required amount. And thanks to that, Sauron is now unlocked and may go out and participate in battles. Of course, you should be careful not to have him killed, or rather slain. That will, as known from the Ring preview video, result in that you are defeated and you will have a shot at reclaiming the ring. However, still be careful. Though, as will soon be noted, Sauron is a very strong opponent on the battlefield for any enemy that you stand against. We can also here comment that we have the Men of the Mountain faction to the west, and while they start as neutral towards you, while you expand into Gondor, you will have opportunities to try to nudge them towards joining your cause. Of course, you can also ignore that in case you prefer to conquer their lands instead of having the Men of the Mountains as your allies. With that displayed, let us jump over and look at the faction bodyguards. And here we have the generals. First in line are the generic orc infantry bodyguards. They are known simply as the Mordor bodyguards. They have shield and swords, excellent morale, very good stamina, 13 attack, total defense of 23, of which 10 is armor. The general model is switching. There are a few different models with different faces, different hair, and so on, that will be different from battle to battle, so that you will have some variety. And this model, just as well as the bulk roster, is made by Earl of Memory. Behind them is the lacking image here. If there are any lacking information images, that is on me, because that is my responsibility to fix. But these gentlemen are of course the Black Numenorians, who have been called in from Harad, or rather the colonies around the world, including in Harad. The general model is a general Black Numenorian, and they have an attack of 14 with a total defense of 27, with 12 in armor, excellent morale, and very good stamina. So these guys are reliable. Behind them you have, because Nazguls have different bodyguards, as will be seen. Most of them will in fact have a foot bodyguard, because the amount of available horses who can stand their presence are not so high. But they have a bodyguard of Sigurun Guardians. These are the so-called Templar units of the faction. They have an attack of 14 with a total defense of 27. Of course, also since their leader is a Nazgul, they frighten nearby enemy infantry, and excellent morale and very good stamina. 13 in armor, so bring your axes if you are about to fight them. A few generals, including of course the Red King himself, as well as Kamul, for example, have the Sigurun Karib, meaning simply rather like the Sauron's cavalry. Frighten nearby enemy, excellent morale, powerful charge, and very good stamina. They do not have lances, however, so they are not quite as good in the charge as other cavalry units might be, but they have 12 attack and 8 charge with a 24 in total defense. As their foot equivalents, it is 13 that is armor. And finally, on foot, we have Sauron himself. Now, some will lament that he is no longer a towering elephant, but it is actually so that in lore he was said to be big but not a giant. So we went with that. If we could have made it so, we would have perhaps preferred to make him of troll size, but there are limitations in the game, so he is having the normal size. With him is a bodyguard of bulldogs. He's taller than your normal man, but with him is a bodyguard of bulldogs. The bulldogs are Maiar, two of the same kindred as Sauron and later Gandalf and Saruman, and also the Balrogs. However, the bulldogs are about the least powerful of the Maiar, but they are quite powerful indeed. An old picture here will I fix too, but they have 15 attack. They are effective against armor, meaning armor piercing. They have a 33 in defense with 14 armor and 10 defense. These guys are really tough to take down. They have combat bonus in deserts. They frighten nearby enemy infantry, excellent morale, and very good stamina. So I have thrown elite groups of elves, Noldor elves, against Sauron and seen them wiped. So despite Sauron not being a walking tower anymore, he will be in actuality more deadly with his entourage. So those are, and of course the bulldogs here are made by Louis Lux, as was mentioned in the Orcs of the Misty Mountains video. Let's move on and have a look at the roster of Mordor. And welcome to the battlefield. In the first row we are looking at the Orc band, who are like the cannon fodder of the faction. They can form a Thangile, that is a Skiltrum, and they have bonus fighting cavalry since they have spears. However, while they have a decent attack, they do not have much in defense, with only 2 in armor, though quite decent shields, so they can handle frontal charges and attacks fairly well, but they are not very great with their morale, so do not rely on them. You will have them mainly to throw at your enemy and distract him while your more qualified troops are maneuvering. A little or rather a decent step better, is the Morannon Guard that we looked at on the strategy map. They are available only in the Morannon, the Black Gate. However, they have a total defense of 15 and 1 better attack, can likewise form a Skiltrum, and bonus fighting cavalry, 15 total defense with 7 armor. So these guys are the kind who may stand in a front line and keep it. Perhaps they will be of most use on the flanks in case enemy cavalry tries to attack you. And as noted, the orc units in this preview are crafted by Earl of Memory. Then we have the unit known as the Orc Drivers. It's a very small unit, as you see, and they are recruited from the temples. They are not meant to fight, rather they are supposed to be close to fighting units because they inspire them. They do have a small bonus fighting cavalry, and they have a good attack, but they are so few that you should not waste them unless you have to. Total defense of 15, also with 7 armor, but their main purpose is to inspire nearby units. To this end, they are having their whips here in their hand, so they are cracking down on anyone who attempts to retreat or break in battle. Then finally, in the basic are of course what I would call the pre-barrack event units. However, the barrack event in DCI do not work as in 3rd Age. In DCI all units are available in military settlement from scratch, but in civilian settlements these are the best infantry unit you might get before the barrack event. It is the Orc Battalion. They are having a 7 attack and 6 charge, no special abilities, however a good 14 defense, 6 in armor. They are the bulk of your forces while you march into Middle-earth, and as we can see, they have a diverse set of weapons. There are axes and hammers and blades, but since they are a mixed outfit, they will not get any bonuses fighting armor. They are a dirty bunch. They will be of much use to you when you are giving yourself time to maneuver your elite units. Then next row we are looking at, here are the basic orc archers. They have, as most units have, long range missiles, can use flaming missiles. They have a missile attack of 5, a total defense of 6 with 4 in armor. They are certainly not very strong, so keep them away from enemy units. Cavalry will be their foes, though they have a decent missile attack. In DCI it is not the attack value that is so important. It is rather how good accuracy do the units have. So while the orc archers have 5 missile attack, and so do many men and some elves as well, these orcs are not very good archers, meaning that they will miss most of the time. They will be at their best if they are shooting against a blob of foes. Better than them are the armored Gorgoroth archers. They have a little bit better missile attack, they have better accuracy, and they have a total defense of 9 with 6 in armor, so they can survive a bit of melee and also incoming missile fire. You will prefer these guys over the petty orc archers, of course. Then we have the Gorgoroth Battalion, who is like the improved version of the Orc Battalion. But the Gorgoroth Battalion are heavily armored, as you see, 16 total defense, 8 armor, 10 attack, and they are like their lesser kinsmen, not having armor piercing, but with the improved attack value they will do their part. They are good at fighting other infantry, especially if the other infantry is not having so much armor. And next to them are the units you want to use if you have armor, bringing their axes and halberds and whatever they are able to pick up. Orc cleavers, we call them. They have a slight bonus fighting cavalry. They are of course effective against armor. Attack 11, a charge bonus of 7 makes them devastating if you can get them in the flank or the back of the enemy. Total defense of 17 with 8 armor, 9 defense, 0 shield and block. So they are not having a bonus if they are attacked directly in the front as much as units with shield, but they can handle most situations. Then we are looking at the so-called Battalion of the Eye. These are Sauron's personal guards, who are in his recruitable only in Barad-dûr and in the Black Gate. They have excellent morale. That is an understatement, because the advantage of this unit, after I mentioned 11 attack, 19 total defense with 10 in armor, is that they cannot break. They have locked morale, meaning that they will fight till they die and not retreat. I have not used them so many times in battle playing as Mordor, but I can tell you, playing as the enemy of Mordor, that you are cursing when you see that Mordor is bringing some Battalion of the Eye to the battlefield, because you know that then you will lose troops, and presumably good troops, because you will need good troops to take them out, and these guys won't crack and break. Finally, we have the human Sigurun Masters. They are, since they are big black Numenorians who are fanatics, they frighten nearby enemy infantry. They have an attack of 13 and a total defense of 25 with 12 in armor. These, we could call them Templars, are available through higher levels of temples, the conversion buildings in bigger settlements. They are fun to unleash and very annoying to counter. Then of course we have the classic, we have the trolls, and they are only available in mountain regions, of course. These mountain trolls have 15 attack and 26 in defense with 17 armor, effective against armor with excellent morale and all the usual. If you face these guys, try to take them out with arrows before they reach the battle, or bring your axes or maces or whatever you have, because they will cause you problems otherwise. And to simply make it worse, we have the hill trolls, and the hill trolls are simply better and nastier. They have 18 attack in compare here with 15 goes up to 18 in attack because they have smithed hammers, and they have 32 in total defense with 21 armor, so from 17 to 21, and also some improved defense skill. They differ, though they are armored, they differ a bit from their third age so-called Olog High heirs, in that they have no horns on their helmets. These guys have been edited by Araval. And finally, also edited and prepared for battle by Araval are the werewolves. And the werewolves are having an attack of 8 with a charge bonus of 10. They are in practice an elephant unit, so in case you get issue with elephants, you can have them removed from the game and replaced by normal wargs. But they are your generic cavalry options. They have a total defense of 27 with 6 armor but very high defense skill. They are expert at hiding in woods, and they have bonuses against cavalry and in woods, and they also frighten nearby enemies, so they are there mainly to counter the enemy cavalry, but they are very good at it. They are not fun to face when you, for example, are playing as the Northmen of Rovanion, who rely heavily on cavalry. And finally, that is the bodyguard that we looked on a moment ago. So, hope you have got a good overview on the faction and its roster, and hope you will enjoy to play it soon ahead. Thank you very much on behalf of the team.